Let's have a look at this image, which I've found on DeviantArt. I'll just show you there. The user by the name of Miss Souls. Have a look in her set there. I found this portrait, and I thought we'd use this portrait to have a look at emulating what you can do with this Carity slider in a raw editor, which basically creates local contrast. So to do that, let's get started by copying the background layer, Ctrl J. And let's go to the sharpen filter and unsharp mask. Now then, traditionally when we're sharpening with some type of traditional edge sharpening, we would do this. I'm going to over sharpen this image because I know, because this is a low res file and a low resolution movie, that I'll need to over sharpen this so that you can see the effect on the movie there. So that would be traditional edge sharpening. That's before, that's after, overdone. But to create local contrast, we're going to use the unsharp mask filter in an unusual way. We're going to do what's called high alarm sharpening, which is an acronym for high radius, low amount. So I bump up the radius and drag down the amount, and it gives the look of, this is an extreme application of local contrast, which gives the portrait almost like a HDR grungy type look. You can see that's before and that's after, and I'm actually going to leave it massively overdone like that, and there's a reason for doing that. So I'll click OK, and what we're actually going to do is add a layer mask. Now white reveals, black conceals, so the white of this mask is revealing, and let me just name this layer so that you can clearly see on the movie local contrast. So you can see that that's the layer that has the local contrast applied. The white of the mask is allowing us to see all of that application. But if I invert the mask with Ctrl and I, then as you know, black conceals, and it's concealing the contents of the layer, which is this local contrast layer. So we're not being allowed to see that. If I paint on the mask with a brush, B on the keyboard for my brush, and there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. Left square bracket or right square bracket to change the size of the brush. That's how I do it, and I'll paint the contrast in where I want to see this contrast. And again, this is being overdone, but that's the beauty and the flexibility of this technique, and this is why I think it's much better to do it this way in Photoshop than using the Carity slider. It's faster, easier, more accurate to do. And we'll pick up some of the streaks in the hair here. I'm not going to go overboard with this demonstration, but just give the general idea, and then you can apply this technique with your own files. But if you look at that file now, we can see that's before, that's after. Let me zoom in a little bit. Before and after. And the beauty of that, it's very quick and easy to do. As you can see, you've got very good control, particularly with zooming in and navigation in Photoshop, being able to do that very quickly and easily. Got the total flexibility of using the mask with either black or white to add or subtract from the mask. We can very quickly on the fly change our brush size, and also because this is overdone, don't forget we have the opacity of the layer, so we can have it as weak or as strong as we want it to be, which is again another reason why I think you should do this in Photoshop. So that's how to emulate the Carity slider in Photoshop. I'm just looking at this file now. Let's see if we can get a bit more from the whiteness of the eye there. Let me just grab the dodge tool, set to highlights, a small brush, and let's just dodge those highlights in a little bit around the eye area there. A bit more sparkle to the eye. So once again, before, after, have this as weak or as strong as you like because of the opacity slider, and I think that's, as I say, it's a much better, more flexible, more accurate, and certainly faster way to work in Photoshop here.